All right, what I'm going to demonstrate here is a version of a split squat, and the intention of this is to strengthen around the knee joint, or maybe even to rehab the knee. So it depends. Maybe your leg's a little bit weak and you're not comfortable coming down to a full range bend with the load of your body weight, or you're trying to move into moving heavier weight, or maybe your legs are just healing up after an injury. And the way to regress this is to just take this lightly, and this is more about taking the movement into a position that you can handle for a bunch of repetitions. So from here, I've got this box in front of me. You can use a chair, you can use a table, you can bring your foot up higher, you can always come down lower. But I've got the wall right here, so I don't have to worry about balancing. I keep my right foot on the floor and bring my left foot up onto the box. Now, what you're going to think about here, even though this is basically a lunge, so I've got one foot back and one foot forward, I'm going to bring everything forward here. You want to emphasize the front leg, and you're trying to bring the front knee into a full bend. So basically, bring the entire hamstring over the calf and over the shin. So this is going to get into your toe mobility, the ankles, the knee joint itself, and you want to try to keep your torso upright. Press your knee forward as hard as you can, and keep the heel lifting so that's moving up toward vertical. So you got to mess around with the stance a little bit here. So I've got my feet on two separate tracks, hips with distance side to side, so I'm not just standing in one line, but I got the wall here to help keep me balanced. And then as I come forward, I'm going to keep my torso upright, press the knee forward, my leg is completely folded, and I've got a complete bend at the knee right here with the heel lifted. And I'll just come back out of this. And then bring it forward, and come back. And bring it forward, and come back. Now, you don't have to force the full range. You get as far into it as you can. And if your knee's really tender or really sore, then you just take it to where you can and come in and out of it. Now, most of the stress is on the front leg, and most of my weight is going into that front foot. So I'm not feeling too much in the back leg. But as I come forward, I'm keeping my hips squared, and I'm squeezing the glutes on this side, on the right side, on my back leg side, to lengthen out from the hip flexor there. As I force the knee forward here, and really just press into this back and forth. Now you can do it from that level, and once you get used to that, or if that's just too easy, you can come down, and I'll take this down. This is about maybe half the height. And same thing here. I got the wall here to keep my balance. If you don't need the balance, you can keep your hand on your hip. And again, the front foot, you just keep that elevated here to start, and you're lifting the heel as you bring this forward. So I'm going to press that knee forward, fold the leg as completely as I can, glutes engaged on the other side, hip presses forward, and then come back out. Bring it forward, and then come back out. Bring it forward, and then come back out. So you want to go as far as you can into that range. Just hold for a second or two, and then come back out. And you're just introducing that stress without a lot of extra load, and just taking your leg into the range that you can. Now, if you're going to do this on the floor, and you can always take it down even further, it is a little bit of an odd stance with the front heel lift to keep in mind, and you got to adjust this a little bit. And so it's good to work with something that you can lean against. You can always have your hand on a chair or a table. You got poles in your hands. And here I just got my hand tracking the wall. And just play with the stance of your feet. So both heels are going to lift. So when I bring this forward, I'm folding my leg completely, keeping my torso upright, squeezing the glutes on the other side, and then back up. And again, forward for two, and then coming back up and taking it back and forth like that. So again, this is meant to get into the joint itself and strengthen the tissues around the joint, because as you come into that full flex at the knee, everything tenses up, and you should be able to feel that, especially if you're tight, or if your quads are tight, you're going to feel that right away. And so you're going to take this more on a high repetition sort of basis here, just holding the tension once you're all the way into that position that you're looking for, and then come back out. And just see that you're moving. Pay attention to the quality of movement, so everything tracks straight forward and back, and keep that in mind.